Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back. It's been a little while since I've done a reading update, so this is what we're going to do today. It's just more of a kind of recent reads type of video. I've got off track with my weekly update schedule because we were on vacation, and that just it's kind of thrown me off the past few weeks. So I'm basically going to run through what I've read in July so far, which has been some fun stuff actually. So let's dig right in because I got a lot to talk about. Look at my cool Frankenstein shirt. Glows in the dark, but I hadn't had a chance to see if it glows in the dark yet. Anyway, so we had a nice vacation, and then it was back to work this past week, and then I'm always slammed at work when I take time off, so it took me almost all the week to catch up. So whew, it was busy. Yeah, we have like one of those weeks where you just have a bunch of appointments too, and it's been a couple of weeks, you know what I mean? It's been a crazy one. So let's dive into what I've been reading so far here in July. It's almost over, but I thought I'd go ahead and do a quick update. Anywho, first up, I finally read Orex and Craig by Margaret, Atwood, and I flippin' loved it. I loved this book so much. Why have I waited so long to read this? I don't know. When I read it, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So, okay, where do I start? It's definitely a post-apocalyptic sort of type story, set in a world where that has basically been demolished by it seems like a bunch of things, maybe some climate things going on, but also some like a viral type of release that has affected a lot of people and knocked a lot of people out, and so it was told basically through this man named Snowman, who we meet in the beginning, and he's possibly the last human left. I don't know quite yet, but so he flashes back to kind of the before times, and from when he's like a small child until he's kind of grown up a little bit to sort of a young adult, and we kind of figure out during that time period of what actually has happened, what happened to the world, why are things like they are, what is going on, why did humanity do so much with their particularly their genetic I don't know if you call it experiments, but genetic manipulations with the human bodies themselves, also animals, and that basically just ran amok, and then who are Orex and Craig? We find out who Orex and Craig are, and I don't. It's hard to explain without really kind of ruining everything, but it was so wonderfully written. It's very unique, a little strange at times, particularly this more kind of present storyline of where we are right now with Snowman and the children of Crake, and like what the world looks like right now. Really, like I said, just really wonderfully written and inventive. And I can't wait. So I'll talk more maybe once I read the whole series, and maybe I'll do like a sort of series book chat on it. But oh my gosh, if you've been wanting to read this and it's just you've kind of been putting it off, oh god, please read it. And if you want to do the audiobook, it was narrated by Scott Campbell, who did such a great job. He's such a great narrator. Oh, this was so good, you guys. Okay. Yeah. I then finished Your Mind is a Terrible Thing by Hailey Piper. I've done a separate book chat on that, so I won't talk too much about it here. I'll link that below if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but this is a sci-fi space horror. Very good. I really enjoyed it. Hailey has not let me down yet, so yeah, very good, especially if you're looking for more sci-fi horror. Really good. I then finally, maybe I'm the last person on the planet to read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I had the audiobook on hold for a while and it finally came in. And yeah, this was fun. It's sort of a sci-fi sci-fi type of story. I don't know how to explain it really either, but I won't say too much. I feel like I really am the last person to read it, so you probably know what it's about. But yeah, I did enjoy this, and yeah, it was fun. So not my first play crush, but I read his Pines series, which I really loved. Yeah, so about life, if you had kind of your life to do over with making different decisions, would you, if you had that chance? Kind of goes into that. It was very interesting. It was good. Then did I do this in audiobook? Yeah, I did an audiobook for The Girl in the Corn by Jason Offutt, and this one was fun. It is definitely very unique, so if you're looking for a unique kind of horror story, I would definitely check this one out. It starts, we've got this family that's they're a farming family, and the little boy in here is he sees something a little strange in the cornfield, and the story kind of goes from there, and it follows this guy through through many years into adulthood, and I'm just gonna say there might be dark fairies at play. It's very whimsical. It's very dark. It has some spooky vibes. Yeah, so it was interesting. It was definitely unique. Something that I haven't read. I haven't read this before. You know what I mean? So that in itself was enjoyable. Just something different. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's a fun time. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So if you're looking, like I said, if you're looking for something different, give it a go. It was a lot of fun. While I was on vacation, I read Seraphinas Limit by Sarah Chorn, and loved this. I loved this so much. I will do a separate book chat on it, I think, because it deserves that, because it's really wonderful. Dark fantasy, very interesting characters, interesting world. So yeah, really good. 5 stars from me. I then read Masquerade by St. Clair. I own Regina here at Regina's Haunted Library here on YouTube. I'll link her channel below. This one, looks got several of these I picked for the India Chord, so I've not mentioned that yet. The India Chords start happening this month. So I read independent and self-published books, so that's what I've been doing this month. And this one is no different. Regina, I think, self-publishes her books. And Red Masquerade is the first book of her trilogy. It is a YA story, kind of gothic story in the ballet world, possibly with werewolves. I had a lot of fun with this one. Our young ballet progeny. She lives in Philadelphia, but her mom, and she comes from a ballet family. Her mother was a ballet, though she's like down and out right now, and like not doing very well. And I think her grandmother and great grandmother were all ballerinas, right? And she also loves ballet, but she's also this goth chick, which I totally loved. And so yeah, she was fun, and she decides to apply for this sort of really elite ballet school in Romania, of all places, and lo and behold, she gets accepted. And I guess maybe she gets a little bit more than she bargains for. She gets wrapped up in this family that kind of runs and owns this school, and all of that family drama. So it was, I just had a really fun time with this. Again, it is YA, so you're following a young protagonist who sometimes is very teenagery, but it was really really well written. I could really feel the setting, particularly when she got to Romania, but even when she was in the States, I felt a good sense of place. The characters were very interesting, and then I think just being set in the ballet world was a lot of fun. I don't know tons about ballet, but but I get it. I get that that drive of wanting to be the best and all of that. The competitiveness of ballet. Yeah, really good. So I will definitely continue on with the series because I gotta see how this wraps up. Because how the first one ended, I'm like, okay, something's. It's not gonna end like this. Something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, well done, Regina. I had a lot of fun with that one. Yeah. So I read Masquerade, very fun. And then I read The Final Women by Pardeep Aujla. I hope I pronounced that right. Now I heard Ollie over at Criminale talking about this one, and I really wanted to read that. It sounded really fun. And it was really fun. I really loved this book. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I had a freaking good time with this story. So it definitely is a play on a final girl trope, which I love. I love that, playing with that trope of a final girl. But in this instance, it's basically the final girls of a movie franchise, you know what I mean? Because there's a final girl in each of the Jason movies and each of the Halloween movies, all those things. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20. There's always a final girl at the end, right? And so this one basically pulls together, 4 final girls that have survived this, slasher guy that has been killing, people at this summer camp. So very, Camp Crystal Lake. And so, we kind of go back a little bit through time to learn their story, particularly though the one character, but she, how she became the final girl, and then it kind of jumps to, some years later, 20-ish, 20, 30-ish years late, well, probably more than 20s, because they're, yeah, definitely more than 20, so maybe 30-ish years later, and something is killing some people again at this camp. They decided it'd be a great idea to reopen the camp, and lo and behold, some kids have gotten killed again. And so the one lady's like, you know what, we got to put an end to this. And so she kind of recruits the other ladies that survived this killer during their particular year, and she kind of convinces them that, we got to do something about this. And so they head up, and they kick ass and take names, you know what I mean? It was so good. The story was really well written. The characters I thought were just super interesting. They were all very different of how they have handled, this really traumatic experience that they had when they were young, and how that translated into their adulthood. Some of them just aren't doing very well. Some of them have other kind of coping mechanisms. It was just really good, and the ending just went for it. It went in a totally direction I was not expecting. So that just knocked me out of my seat. I loved this book, honestly. I really, really loved it. Definitely recommend it if you like slasher type stuff, if you like, plays on that final girl trope. This one I think was done really well. It was fantastic. I had a great time with this book. Highly recommend it. So good. So good. So yeah, next up I've finished Mists and Megaliths. I don't know, I have a hard time pronouncing that, by Catherine McCarthy. This is a short story collection. I loved this too. I've been reading some really good stuff this month. I loved this. These are short stories. Oh my gosh, it's beautifully written. So atmospheric. Pull in a lot of Welsh lore. I'm guessing the author is Welsh. Pulls in a lot of that into the story. Story about, a lot about family. Like I said, those Welsh myths are sometimes, pulled into the stories. Really dark, gothic, atmospheric, creepy, really creepy at times. Y'all, this is a really good short story collection. I mean, 5 stars for me. I loved it so much. So if you're a short story kind of person, definitely add it to your list. I don't even want to say too much more about it. I just think you just need to read it. just go read it, especially if you like atmospheric, dark, creepy stories. Ugh, so good. Okay, so then I dug into this bad boy, but I did the audiobook, of course, because ain't nobody got time for all this, you know what I'm saying? But 11/22/63 was our Stephen King choice for this month. You know, we did the Stephen King read along that we got going over on Brad Proctor's Discord that we chat about over there. Yeah, super big one. But I was looking forward to it because I definitely have heard really great things about this. A lot of people, like, this is like in their kind of top 5 or is their fave or whatever, you know, even kind of non-King readers like this one, you know what I mean? Because it's not necessarily a horror type story. It's definitely more, you know, tinges of sci-fi with the time travel aspect. So basically we follow a guy who gets kind of roped into this time traveling experience. What was the guy's name? Jake, yeah. And of this time hole that they find that takes them back to a time period. I think it takes them back to like 1958 or something like that. Yeah, 1958. And so the guy that kind of ropes him into, you know, tells him about this, and he's like, let's go, you know, you should go back and kill John, or stop John Kennedy from being assassinated. And he's like, maybe I'll give it a try. I don't know. He's just like, okay. So basically, he goes back in time, and he's got several years, of course, before 1963. And so it's basically just like what he's doing in that time period, how he's trying to, you know, get some information on Lee Harvey Oswald, that kind of thing. But he's also like having to like get a job, and he meets people along the way. He falls in love, yada yada yada, and all that. Okay. Overall, I like the story. I like the idea of this story. Cool. I love a time travel story. Fine. This book is, for me, too long. This book is too damn long for me. There are parts in here I did not care. I don't know. And I know, and I love a good long King book usually. I usually don't mind. You know, give me some character development. For some reason, in this particular story, I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it was about it. So I didn't hate this book by any means, but there's just too much in here. It's too long. This book is way too long. I did like the ending though. I thought the ending was really good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not blasting this book, but it's a Stephen King book, so I'm not going to say much about it, but I overall liked it, but Lord, there's bits in here that I just don't care. Moving on. Heaven by V.C. Andrews, book 1 of the Castile series. So we're diving into a new family drama saga here with the V.C. Andrews read along, hosted by Kelly over at Kelly Hooked on Books. And yeah, I really liked this one. I struggled with a couple of those Dollenganger books, you know. They were just like, oh man. This one though was really good. I really like this one a lot. Let's take a look at the step back again though. I love this. It's like this forest with this wolf. And then dun dun dun. So here's Heaven here. She's the oldest daughter of this family. And they are like what we call around these parts dirt poor. They live in West Virginia, just in a basically shack of a house, poor and everything. And Lordy, I was like, where do I even start? Because it's a V.C. Andrews book, so there's lots of family drama to talk about. But I don't know, I just really love this. I thought it was really well written. I could see V.C. Andrews kind of getting her chops into this one, you know what I mean? Heaven herself, I thought was really wonderful. She's a really wonderful character. I really enjoyed following her. And I liked a lot of the other characters, even the ones that are like, bad, because the one sister, her younger, not the very youngest, but the sort of middle youngest sister is crazy town. She is so dramatic. Fanny is her name. She's she's so dramatic and sometimes really mean, you know. But even I liked her though, even though just because she was just a lot of fun. So I definitely, you know, get this these feelings of this just really abject poverty, of really just scraping for food, not having enough clothing, none of that, just not having anything that you need. The father's, you know, kind of, you know, just kind of a deadbeat. He's always selling off their stuff and always, you know, scrambling around for work. He disappears for periods at a time and doesn't really care that they don't have food on the table to eat. You know, the older kids are, of course, left with helping out the best that they can. They're left with the mom here, who's just like about at the end of her rope because she's stressed out having to deal with this mess of youngins while the daddy's just off gallivanting, you know. And yeah, pretty soon, I would just say, because the father ends up like selling the kids off. I mean, like, who does that, right? And so the kids they end up being totally separated. And so we follow Heaven as she is put with this family. And Lord, the woman in that house is crazy. She is nuts. Kitty, she's a really fun character. Lots of, not lots, I wouldn't say lots, but definitely some inappropriate sexual things in here with underage, with our underage teenage Heaven. You know, par for the course for B.C. Andrews. You know, crappy father figure. Yeah, but even with we know what to expect from B.C. Andrews at this point. I think soap opera, family dramas, this brought that and more, and I really loved it. I just thought it was, I kept with the story. It pulled me in. I was very concerned about the characters and what was going to happen next. So yeah, we will definitely dive into book 2 next month, and yeah, I like this a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it a lot. So yeah, very happy about that. So a couple of things I got on the go. Make sure I'm not missing anything over here. Only Child by Patricia Wallace. I've got that on the go. I'm maybe third of the way through or so. I'm doing that on ebook. That's for the From Hell Book Club. Yeah, and just last night I did start Brian Keene's Ghoul. A couple of folks are reading this. Kelsey over Slam and Slashers. This is, I think, one of her picks for the month. And then one at Plagued by Visions Patreon little book club. We're doing that also. But I just started, so we're getting into the nitty gritty. Kind of a coming of age type story, I think, with, I'm guessing, a ghoul. I don't know. I'm not there yet. But, you know, too early to tell for that one. And I've made some good progress on House of Chains. Y'all know this was my priority for the month, to finish this book, and I've got this much left. I've got maybe 5 chapters left. I'm gonna do it, y'all. I'm gonna do it. I'm glad to be back in the world. But this, so far, I think it's not my favorite of the series. Maybe it's why I'm just struggling I struggled so much with finishing this one, you know, because I've been reading it for like 5 months or something. But I'm still interested enough to keep going, of course, and because I know that this is going to lead to more, you know, in the next books, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's just a bit more kind of talking in this between characters and jumping around kind of from, you know, camps, you know, of people. So I'm feeling a little more confused by this one in general, but I'm rolling with it, you know. I'm just kind of rolling with it. And I think that's it. I do have an audiobook, and the Notorious RBG I've got an audiobook. Started that one. Yeah, so not much more left of June. I do not think I'm going to finish my TBR, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't pressure myself too much. There were some books on there that I really wanted to get to this month. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, so that is it. Phew. I've had a busy July so far, but reading some really good stuff, honestly. Overall, reading some really great things, so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, let me know how your July has been going so far. I'd love to know. And thanks as always for watching. You know, I'm so appreciative of your time. I really am, especially these long videos where I just talk too much. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, friends.